All right, good morning. My podcast is going to start today in the GMC car dealership, and then we'll adventure out, and you're going to take an adventure with me. We're going to walk through some neighborhoods as I walk, because my truck's here for a full day. Needed the new heated steering wheels because of, recalls. But you got to walk through and check out the car dealership this morning and take a look. It's pretty cool. There's no one in here right now. So, the service there is, but check out the old cars. I love this one, the old LT Stingray. Love living in small towns because, I don't know, Olympia, it's safe, secure. I mean, sure we have our problems, but this is how cool it is. You have the full lobby dealership early in the morning. It's 7:40. Lights weren't on about 10 minutes ago, so they just turned them on. So there's someone around, but I like that one. I'm sorry, new. I mean, the classics are cool too. Yeah. So this is gonna be the podcast today. We are gonna head up to the haircut place to this. So you're gonna take a hike through the neighborhood where I showed homes, or sold homes. So I'll show you some homes and cool little neighborhoods. We're gonna talk about going back to the office today, real estate, marketing, and we're just gonna explore. I'm gonna show you a bunch of Olympia as I wait all day, and I'm gonna hike around the city. Walk around the city. So get ready for a cool podcast. Here we go. So actually, I like working at car dealerships. I don't know what it is about their lobby at the service center, but it's quiet, sterile. Once in a while they have they have a TV there that you can kind of commandeer the TV remote if you want to, but I always bring my computer and phone, and I love spending a lot of time. I feel like I can get a lot of work done. Does that make sense? A lot of work at the car dealership, you're forced to work. So if you're writing a book like myself, or work in real estate with just research and deals, I just knocked out a bunch of work this morning, and it was quiet. And of course the lobby there, I showed you that in the beginning, had no one there, so I looked at the cool cars, and $100,000 for, what was it, LZ2 Corvette, new one. And then they had on this little sticker there, dealer markup 10K dealer price, just 10K because the dealer had it. I guess it's that hard to find, so I didn't do any research on it. But right now we're hiking through the neighborhood. The crows are chirping, as you can see. Look at this. Leaves are all falling down. I love this time. So yellow and orange leaves all falling. The trees look amazing. I love this time of year. It's crisp out this morning. I have my Filson wool jacket on, which I love. Yes, I saw these on Yellowstone and had to have one. I had Filson gear before, so don't get me wrong. I grew up with Filson. My dad had Filson gear, but this one's legit. I love it. $500, but it's worth it for a warm jacket. It looks good, and it keeps you warm, especially in the fall. So overcast today, cloudy, no shocker there. And I think it's supposed to burn off for a few days before the rain comes Sunday again. I don't know how else to describe this, but I feel like all us locals, the ones that are from Washington State, all not scramble, but the last month we're busy. I met my uncle yesterday at a home flip, and he's busier than ever, and they're down the beach clamming and taking care of his cabins and homes. And I think we all get ready for the winter. It's almost like we are grizzly bears. You hibernate or get ready to hibernate for the rain. And so we have so much to do. He was like, I'm just slam busy. And I'm like, so am I. And I'm finishing the shed roof. I got another roof to finish on another, like our boathouse, and real estate. I'm helping everybody consolidate, get ready for the winter, and investments. It's just it's what we do. So if you're not from Washington, I'm sure you're doing the same thing if you're getting ready for the snow on the East Coast or wherever you're from. I'm not sure if you go through the same habits, but feels very Pacific Northwest Washington. Anyways, at least it's not too cold, at least it's not rainy today. And I'm gonna take a little shortcut, I know, through this neighborhood here, through the dealership, which is really cool. So I'll show you some homes. Investors have bought before rentals, which is nice. And the neighborhood's clean, the prices were really good. And a great location, and I love it. So we'll see if we can see any Halloween stuff as well, which will be really neat. Which, yeah, I love Halloween if you don't know. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, just another person walking by, and I'm just talking on the podcast here. So, with getting ready for winter or rain, if you're not from here, I don't know who else does this, but we start to get ready for the yards as well, and I'm sure everybody does with yards, but we start to take care of the grass, the roofs as well, like I said, the gutters, drainage system, pests. We start to spray because all the spiders, we have a lot of spiders here in Washington State, they all seem to come out of the woodwork. Remodels, look at this, someone just left their remodeled trash on the sidewalk there. Old hot tub, bathtub. Ew, oh, that is a old hot tub they just cut up. Okay, there you go. Now, this neighborhood has the older maple trees. As you know, they probably grew up in the last, this is a 20-year neighborhood, so these were tiny back in the day, and I love seeing the bigger maples. And I swear that's all through the city, because I've seen a lot of 20-year neighborhoods. All these maples have grown up and make it look amazing. Also, if you notice down here, there's a little free book stand. That's huge here in Washington State. We seem to have a lot of, which is good, a lot of reading, a lot of free books that go through the neighborhoods. You can stop and exchange or grab a book, and my daughter and son, we used to do that all the time, and they loved it. I don't know, I think there's something nice about figuring out and grabbing a random book and seeing what you like. But these homes all through here, so I've sold home over there, there's one on the other street, little front patios, just a typical craftsman home, newer style, but all the Halloween decorations, spider webs, and ghosts and goblins and pumpkins all on the front patio over the hedges and bushes. So these are cute. I love the style of home and neighborhood. What you can do is you can hike through here to downtown. I'm going over to my haircut, so you guys are on a journey today to see this neighborhood and a few others. I got some people looking at me because I'm talking. So some people, I think, walking to school bus or down to school this way as well. Okay, we are going to talk about in real estate right now, people going back to work. I think this has been missed. I need to hit this up because I've been saying this for 3 years. During COVID, what happened during COVID is everybody decided to go out to the country. They decided they're going to be frontiersmen. They want to get away from everybody. They want some land. And I saw it in New York, Chicago, everywhere, and New York prices just dumped. These condos were so cheap. Everybody was just getting rid of it in 2020, end of 2020, COVID. And it was amazing because I was saying, buy all these now, buy these condos. Because what's going to happen when you move from the city to the country? You go upstate New York. I think they boomed upstate New York, Hudson Valley. So you have all these people that moved upstate New York from the city, and they're used to coffee one block, gym one block, all the conveniences within, like literally walking distance or anywhere else. What happens when they do that and they realize they go to the country, and if you're not used to it, or even the suburbs, let's be honest, but you have to drive 15 minutes to Target. You have to drive another 15 minutes on this side of town for tanning. The dealerships over here, there's a lot of driving, and it takes forever. And the further you go out there, it can go from 15 minutes to 20, 30 minutes, and you're not used to that. And then you have to mow a yard, and you have maintenance, and just neighbors can be crazy out in the country. Dogs, animals, wildlife, everything comes with it. You're not used to all the small little restaurants and diners. So what happened, and I saw this in New York, is they all moved back. All of them, or at least some of them. So the condos went way down, 2020. They all realized country life, good morning, country life or being that far away from conveniences was not okay. And they all moved back to New York, and the condos shot back up in prices. And it happened everywhere, and I'm still seeing it. So I'm seeing remnants of people out in the country realizing country life's not for them, and now they're making their way back to the city. Now, some aren't going full core back to the city, but they're definitely going back to where the conveniences are. Now, with that being said, there's also another reason. People with work are asking people to come back to the office. They're saying, hey, it's time to get back to the office, time to work, as remote working wasn't working. No pun intended, but that's what it was. And I will admit, like, it's easy once you get in the pattern at home, sweatpants, or I can't do that, I have to dress up. But the ones that can, sweatpants and sitting around, you gotta have the TV on, you can play with the pets. I mean, I think there is a moderation of how you can work and play, and I know that's for sure. But I think a lot of them were taking advantage of it and just not working, or it went way down in production level. So, although I do like the remote working because it really showed how little you needed a lot of people and just a few people worked, to be honest, because there's a lot of redundancy and, no offense, I'm not a big fan of the corporate system because I've been in it, you have like 4 bosses and you don't need that. And one talks to the other, and it's a joke. We all know it's a joke. But that's how it's been done, that's how it's always done. It seems like they don't want to reinvent the wheel, which I get, but in the same aspect, it's ridiculous, in my opinion. So everybody's needing to come back to the office now. So along with realizing country life's not maybe for you, now you're being called back to the office, really dropped and dumped a lot of these outskirt homes. Now people are still looking for them, but they're being a lot more picky. Prices have tanked on them, at least in some of my areas, and I'm seeing great deals come up right now everywhere across the country because I have baselines in upstate New York, Wisconsin, Maine, Minnesota, even Hawaii. Well, it's a whole nother story. But Washington State, of course, and everywhere else. So with all that being said, the other question is offices, and I saw a morning report this morning, offices are still at 50% less occupancy. They are vacant. And I know we've been seeing that commercial market's going to tank because of all these office buildings being vacant and all their loans are coming up. If you haven't been watching that, all the commercial loans for office buildings and everything like that is going to get them in trouble, get them screwed. So the question is next, what happens with all those office buildings? And I've heard a few different scenarios where they turn into multifamily. But then again, I've heard multifamilies really taking a hit with the rent. And do you really want to live in an apartment complex? Unless you're in New York or Chicago, which would be awesome. Do you really want to live in an apartment complex out in a city or country or suburb? And me, I'd say no, I'd rent a house. And so the house rents are probably a little higher. Well, I know they're a little higher. But I would definitely take that over apartment complex. So I've heard multifamily's been hurting a little bit too, except for in key areas, or to be honest, lower income cities or parts of the state. So buying low income apartments is going to take a risk too, because if interest rates come down, then you have all the low income that can afford to buy homes will move out of those apartments to buy them. Now you're probably only going to lose 10 to 20%, but if your numbers are tight in those multi-units, multifamily, that's a risk to take. But again, and your rents go down at the same time because everybody's moving, interest rates go down, you may be in trouble there, or at least a lot of them will. And I'm starting to see a lot of multifamilies come up and be sold. And then I'm also seeing a lot of people try to buy multifamilies thinking that that's not going to happen for 5 to 10 years. So I know I need to digress, get off this track. What I'm trying to say is if you've always wanted to live the country life and you want to move to the country from the city, Washington State's amazing, or upstate New York or anywhere that's really cool outside Chicago areas. But just remember, like, we love it. You have the small diners, the small restaurants. To be honest, we have maybe 3 good restaurants, 5 good restaurants in Olympia, and I'm serious. Compared to Seattle, or even Tacoma has some good ones, but compared to Seattle, an hour away, we can't compete. And that's just the reality of it. The restaurants here are okay. You should see like one of the nicest ones, their charcuterie board. In my opinion, is like a 4 out of 10. I need to start reviewing charcuterie boards like the pizza guy does. You know, you want all the little pickles and olives and tapenades and chutney and cheeses and meats and crackers. You want on a nice board, and presentation's huge. And this one came out on a plate, and it's like one of the nicest restaurants. I'm like, oh my God, that's just like, my daughter could have done better than this. All right, just so you know, here's some woods. Washington State is comprised of a lot of homes and a lot of woods. And you have trees, vacant areas, and a barbecue. I'm assuming someone put that here. Who knows? Probably homeless. Here comes a school bus behind me. And then we're gonna make our way through the Westside, Olympia, little neighborhoods over here. The mall is gonna be, I'll show you down this direction. And then we are gonna cross the street, get off the main road, so hopefully you can hear me okay. And we'll see what this bus driver does. And then we'll let him go. And then we'll go this way, down the street. Here we go. Let's go back alleyway. So we'll take a back alley mall straight ahead of me, and then going a little north of the West Side neighborhoods. Now, West Side neighborhoods I like. They're little bungalows, little apartment complexes, not apartment complexes. This is a little apartment complex right here. So there's the mall down that way. Outback Steakhouse, Olive Garden. Those are our main ones here, restaurants. So you know we're running. Oh, they have a 571 burger place. That's actually really good in the mall. Movie theater is good too there. It's the reclining seats. So we do have that going for us for Olympia. But in reality, you have to be okay with being a smaller town, smaller restaurants. The further you go, trust me, the smaller restaurants. So ours just don't compare to Seattle. It's just reality of it. So we always like to complain about that. And it's expensive. And so, to be honest, if we are going to eat out, I would like to go to a really nice high-end restaurant, or even just a nice restaurant in Seattle that has good food, that is amazing. That is not a small town, thank you, restaurant per se. And then when I was looking at land, I found a beautiful piece of land. So it's that typical farmland, like cornfields and trees, and then divided between fields of farm, or corn and farm, to trees and so forth. And it's 33 acres. Gorgeous. It's in Minnesota, and we drove through there when we did our road trip across country for all the national parks during COVID. And so I found it. It's on auction tomorrow on the 5th. Called the agent, talked to him, and I asked him a few questions. I said, why is it starting off at $50,000 for 33 acres? It's beautiful, gorgeous, and two things with this. One, he says no wetlands, great build, great location, great for hunting, country living. And two, he says the auction should go about $150,000 to $200,000 for the land. I'm like, I see, because starting at $50,000, you think 60, maybe 70, 80,000. I'm like, oh, that's a steal. 33 acres, gorgeous. But this resonates, or full circles back with the restaurants. When you find this property, and I've been looking because it's strategic off, what is it, the 93, I think runs north and south. I forget which ones. Dang it, I learned that. North is what number and south is, or I mean, horizontal and vertical with the numbers. But anyways, it was off one of the main roads, was out there, and then you're like 2 hours from, no, it's 3 hours from Green Bay, 2 hours from Milwaukee if you could fly in, then you drive to the property about 2 hours west of Milwaukee. And small little towns, and when you look at the towns, I typed in restaurants, I just wanted to see. Now it did have a bigger town about 10, 15 minutes away, and when I mean bigger town, population was 10,000 people. And it had like 6 restaurants or 8 restaurants, between 4 stars on Google and 4.6, I think was the highest. But it's all small diners and pizza places and restaurants, and that's what you get. So if you're moving there full time, you are full on country, small diner, small restaurant. Your major towns probably, I should Google that, your major town with the Walmart is what you want, or Target or whatnot, is probably an hour away. And if you're not used to that and you're out there and you want to just run and get something, I doubt they have Instacart out there or Uber Eats. They may have Uber Eats. Instacart, probably not so much, maybe, who knows. you're giving up all your conveniences to live out there in the country. Now, two, you have to rely on you, and if it's yourself, then fine, more power to you. If you have a partner, wife, husband, whatnot, kids, you're pretty much relying on them, hanging out with them 24/7. Of course, you're going to make friends with stuff you do around town, but it's going to be slow. You may make them fast, who knows how, depending on friendly, but I guarantee you, if you have friends in the city, hour and away, 30 minutes, I mean, shoot, we have friends 30 minutes away, it's tough. 45 minutes away, after you drive, and if you have a drink or two, or if you're hanging out, it's tough to drive that back, and it's a long drive there, and you have to be committed. And don't get me wrong, we love our friends. That's a big commitment. So that drive alone, the 45 minutes is tough, or 30 minutes, even 30 minutes is tough for friends and family. So you have to be self-reliant on your partner, your family, kids, and you have to be extremely happy, settled, otherwise you won't. I think that's why we're seeing a big move back to the city, because people do love interaction and people and talking and communicating. So this neighborhood, Westside neighborhood, southwest side of Olympia here, is darling. Trees everywhere, mature trees, definitely a little more bungalow style homes and gardens, bigger lots, and it's cute because you can walk to the west side over here, and there's a lot of walking on these neighborhoods, and they're mostly all one stories. There's some two-story old craftsman's, some Tudor style homes, and I'm on the northern part, or the western part of this old town, at least on the south side of the road. And you have cute little pumpkins and trees and leaves again. Looks like a neighbor just walked over to see another neighbor with both their little kids. Good morning. And so that's what's cool about it, is you have these cool little neighborhoods, fully fenced, trees and leaves everywhere, nice and friendly, no through traffic, or that main road back there that was skirts around this whole neighborhood. So I love it. You have some mid-century 1970 style homes in here as well. And so if you're looking for a cute little place, these run about $500,000 over here, and $500,000 to $600,000. They've been moving up lately. Back in the day, auction, I remember seeing a tax auction one. It's like $250,000, and we were like $300,000, $400,000. Now we're $500,000, $600,000 for these cute little homes back in here. We have some more modern ones, but most of these are going to be that single family. It's more of a mid-century, and then bungalows, and some craftsmen / Tudors. So if you're looking for more of a city life, but you still have the backyard, the dog playing friendly, and you want okay restaurants, don't get me wrong, I'm not slagging Olympia. We do have some good restaurants, just when you compare it to big cities, it's tough. I like the color of that door. Purple, there you go. And then you have to duck under trees and leaves, and welcome to Olympia, Washington. We love our trees and leaves and tall grass, and it's gonna blow up here in winter when it rains. Oh, that's cool, pink building. So if you're listening to this, we'll continue on our journey. We're heading to my haircut place over here by Egan's Little Diner Drive-In. No, it's just a little drive-through. It's also, I think it's related to Big Tom's, which I grew up on. Big Tom's is amazing here. It's literally a little drive-through burger place, and so I think they have an eating area now, like a little shack I haven't been in, to be honest. See, I like this. Clean style, mid-century, blue, easy. Yeah. Good morning. So, if we continue on, we're gonna head to my haircut place. Say hi, cuts my hair, does a really nice job. And then we'll head downtown for some pizza. I'm gonna get a slice of pizza, old school pizza, which I love. And the owner's mom is on the board at a nonprofit with me, which is really cool. I love that. So I don't get any discounts though on the pizza, but it's that kind of New York style, thin crust, really good. Not limp pizza, you know, just crispy, solid, New York style, best in Olympia, in my opinion. And then two, you find these small little towns that the small places have great pizza, or at least you have to, because it's what we survive off of. I feel like more pizza and burgers than fine dining. I guess we're talking about restaurants a lot today in this podcast. And so, ducking under more trees, more leaves falling down everywhere. I love the sidewalks, all covered in leaves. They're yellow and orange. Love these old maples, and the branches just hang over the sidewalk and the roads. And that's what's cool. Look at this, just leaves everywhere and trees. So once we head downtown, I'll show you downtown Olympia core area. That'll be part 2 of this podcast. My main real estate point today was everybody's still having to go back to work right now. If you're having to go back to work to the big city, do you just move to the big city, or do you move to the suburbs? Do you kind of try to find something in between? A lot of people like Olympia here because we are 45 minutes to an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on traffic, to Seattle. Now, a lot of people come from California and they're like, we don't mind waiting an hour to hour and a half to 2 hours in traffic. They're used to it. We are not. On a no traffic day, on a Sunday early morning, Sunday late evening, depending on when I time it, I can book it, maybe a little speeding, from Olympia to Seattle in 45 minutes. And that's how it used to be back in the day with no traffic. Nowadays, it takes an hour and a half, 2 hours minimum, depending on how much traffic you hit. Accidents, like it just seems like there's accidents. Even without rain, my wife watched the news this morning. We saw that traffic accident. She's like, I'm so glad we're not driving to Seattle. And I used to do that drive. That was rough if you're doing it every day. If you had to commute twice or 3 times a week or go up, not too bad. I mean, it just depends. So if you have a full-time job, but part-time at the office, not as bad, right? And we do have a train, like a light rail from Tacoma up to Seattle. So you could drive to Tacoma 25 minutes, 30 minutes, and then take the light rail, which would kind of keep some of your sanity. See, love the style. Big tree right in there. Ooh, look at that. Purple craftsman style home. Looks like a hocus pocus. Look how big the lot is. Look at around over there on the side, gardens, trees. Oh, that's the bed and breakfast, the Marie, duh. So if you want to stay at a very cool bed and breakfast in Olympia, the Marie is amazing. Look at the side yard over there, the statues, the trees around it. That's what we have in Olympia. Right off the road, there's a cute little home if you're looking to buy stuff. And this is why I love Olympia. Our architecture, our trees, our landscape, our leaves, the fall, small little town. I love that. You know, there's stuff you miss from the big city, or if you want big city, and I've traveled a lot. My wife and I lived in Vancouver, BC. That's hard to compete against for food and conveniences. Back over here, we have the Westside Tavern. My buddy just moved from over here, and he loved the Westside Tavern. He had, like, you know, they do the customized mugs where you can put your name on it and you're a local and pay a lot and you get discounted beer. He loved it. And then there's some new buildings. I think Jordan Gritton, I forget which one he built, good builder in town here. I think he built that one, the red one. These are 2 new buildings that kind of go with the city out here. And so I love being out here on the city. Now we're on, how are we doing with time? We were like spot on with time. This is the main road coming from downtown Water up past the Capitol up to the west side of Olympia to the mall. So the mall's behind me over here. And you have the Westside Tavern again, outside patio, bar area. Gets really busy. And then you have right here, Hash, the neighborhood breakfast joint. Remember, small diners, really cool restaurants in these towns. This place is always packed. The breakfast is cool. Look, you have some senior citizens, some locals, some folks just hanging out. And I actually have not eaten there. Apparently the breakfast is amazing. And there's always usually a lineup on the weekends. And you can walk here from the neighborhood that side, or as I call the more northern Westside Olympia is over there. They can walk over here too. And they have like I think another little diner and restaurant over there as well. I haven't explored much over there lately. We did a long time ago. I remember going to a cute little restaurant with some friends. Actually our neighbors now over there. That is an old Subaru Outback with its muffler maybe missing, or just rally racing the old Subaru Outback. Green Jeep Wranglers. Yeah, welcome to Olympia. So we're almost to my haircut place, and if you like charm, I guess, old school charm, kind of like your own style, literally you can make it as it goes here, because everybody has their own style. Everybody really, I don't know if I should say leaves you alone, or we're definitely more private here. I've heard we've been cold as people and not very nice or friendly like the Midwest, but I think that's our style. Once you get to know people, we warm up more. Maybe it's the rain that hibernates everybody, but it also is very cliquey here as well. And even my wife's like, there's a lot of girls that if you're not from here, forget about it. And I am, and I'm fine. I have my old friends, but my wife's not, and it's tough. So just a heads up if you're moving here. Cool donut shop right here. There's a car wash over there. I heard the mayor of Lacey owns those car washes. I'm not sure if that's true. If he does, he's making a killing on those. Actually, I have a subscription I need to cancel. Shit. And then this is my little barber shop right here. It's really freaking awesome. So I'm gonna go check out how cool this is. We got Seha and all the other barbers. So I'm gonna get my hair cut and we'll continue on with part 2. All right, see you guys.